Okay, guys, called JAMF, that's JAMF, and this company works with Apple iOS platform, and it helps businesses and schools connect their network to Apple products. So it's basically an enterprise level Apple service as a software provider. And I noticed on Robinhood, so as you can see, guys, I'll take a look here. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm on robintrack.net. So this is the site that I use to track basically what people are buying on Robinhood. So I was basically browsing through, as you can see here, and this stock came up on my radar. As you can see here, it went from zero people owning the stock, and then over 4,200 people picked it up on its IPO. So I figured this could be a nice early time to get in on it. So let's go a little bit more in depth on what exactly JAMP is, and then I'll give you guys my long-term opinion on it. So before I get into the video, guys, please smash the like button. It really helps. MarketWatch.com. So I'll give you guys a quick gist of it. As you can see here, JAMP Holdings Corp priced its IPO at $26 per share, raising about $468 million. So the Minneapolis-based Apple Enterprise Manager software provider will offer $18 million from $16 million, and the underwriters of the transaction are Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America, and Barclays. So pretty straightforward here, guys. So let's go a little bit more in depth into the actual press release, and then I'll tell you guys a little bit more about how the company works. Okay, so I'm on the investor relations section of the JAMF website. So as you can see here, it's a little bit more in depth. So they're offering a total of 18 million shares, and basically, with a company like this, they're going IPO for several reasons. I think obviously they want to raise money because during the pandemic situation, a lot of companies are just basically strapped for cash. But there's also a bit of kind of a bit of a red flag going on here why they rushed this IPO, and that's because Apple actually acquired another company that kind of competes in the similar basically uh, sector as JAMP. So I want to talk a little bit more about that one, and that is, I'm going to talk about this right now. So back in June, Apple Smith. So Fleetsmith is basically a way to help organizations set up their iPads and their Mac products. So this is a bit worrisome, I would say, for JAMF, and maybe this was potentially one of the reasons why they pushed out this IPO so much, because Apple is such a big company, and perhaps this Fleetsmith acquisition could steal a bit of business away from JAMF. So, basically, Fleetsmith and JAMF are basically similar competitors. So this could be a potential red flag. But the good thing is that for a long time, I even used it my high school back in 2005 when I graduated from high school. My 2005 when I graduated from high school, my high school was using JAMF software to connect computers on our high school network. So obviously JAMF's been around for a very, very long time, but this is a bit of a red flag. But I just want to let you guys see the company provided an IPO. So okay, so now I'm on Monthly Fool. So basically I want to just talk a little bit more about the background of JAMF. So as you can see here, it was founded in 2002 by Zach Homestead and Chip Pearson, and basically it was basically came out right around when the original iPod was produced, and the company basically focuses on Apple devices. It just helps organizations deploy and manage Macs across their network. So the way they make money, they charge a subscription fee from around $2 per month to over $7 per month. And then right now they have around 40,000 customers managing 17 million Apple gadgets in 100 countries. So let's talk a little bit more about their revenue. Their total revenue was about 204 million, which 80% of subscription revenue. And obviously that acquisition by Fleetsmith is a little bit worrisome, but I don't expect 40,000 customers to all of a sudden dump the product. One of the things I notice about companies like Netflix, Amazon, Uber is that when people become comfortable using a certain product or a service, the chances of them dumping it are slim to none. Similar things with Tesla. Usually, what I say is companies like this, the customers become big fans, fanatics of the business, and the chances of them dumping it for another service are very slim unless something drastically happens within that company. So, although I think the Fleetsmith acquisition is a bit of a worrisome note, I think that with annual recurring revenue of around $224 million, I think there's a lot of growth here and a lot of exciting things for JAMF shareholders in the future. So obviously, this company is a brand new company on the IPO and the stock jumped a lot. So now let's take a look at a little bit of some of the actual products and services that they sell. Okay, so now I'm actually on the JAMF website. So as you can see here, trusted by IBM, SAP, Ohio State, and 40,000 other businesses and schools. And, basically the company is basically two basically key business offerings for businesses and for education. So it encompasses basically, Fortune 500 brands and big companies, but also higher education, universities, and things like that. So here are just some of the customers who are pairing their Apple devices with JAMP: Bleacher Report, SAP, Eventbrite, Salesforce, Scribe, University of Oregon, and Shenandoah University. So lots of different things going on here, guys. You can check this out for yourself, and they have many different products. They have Jam Pro, Now, School, Connect, and Protect. Like I said, they have some nice offerings. The company's been around for quite some time, and they have a pretty stable customer base with around 440,000 businesses and schools using it, with over $200 million in annual recurring revenue. So, everything looks pretty solid here. And I think that this IPO has a lot of potential. Revenue is around over 200 million, and this initial public over 300 million or so. I think there is some potential here. So let's talk really high. It tapped around resistance at around $50, and then it came down a little bit. So as of recording this video, it's sitting right at around $40. So the stock is already up on its first trading day. Okay, so the fact that the stock obviously has is already up quite a bit, I think there's definitely some potential here. So I think this stock is one of the similar um, of perhaps trajectory that when I was taking a look at Lemonade, I think it's basically has a lot of long-term potential, and the fact that the IPO was so popular on the first day, that's a really positive sign here. So as you can see here, the IPO is up basically around 38% on the first day, ending up as well. So it really be interesting to see where this company heads for the rest of the year and into 2021. But one of the reasons why I like JAMF so much is that it has recurring revenue. So recurring revenue is very stable, it's very predictable. It's one of the reasons why Apple is turning to a service company. It's one of the reasons why Netflix is so highly valued. And it's just one of the reasons why I think this stock is more predictable. Annual recurring revenue of over $200 million. We know basically it's very easy to understand how this company makes money. They just have to add more customers, and that annual recurring revenue will increase of value to shareholders. So I think there is some potential for some short-term movement and some short-term gains here. And I know a lot of you guys are looking for stocks that you can perhaps make 25, 50, 100% gains. And I think this stock should definitely be on your radar. It was trading on some pretty good volume on its first day. Okay, so as you guys looking at the volume, 22 million shares traded on the first day. That's pretty strong volume there. So when you're looking for stocks that can make big moves, you're definitely looking for stocks that at least are a couple million shares traded. If there's no volume there, then there's really no potential for the stock to move. So 22 million shares traded on the first day, that's pretty solid. And I think that this stock could potentially tap resistance again and pass $50. I think obviously it was a little, and the fact that there's definitely some upside here. So with a lot of all those EV stocks that have cooled off, so shares like Tesla, Solo, Nikola Motor, it seems like that sector's cooled a little bit, and of course the cannabis stocks have cooled off and things like that. So right now, I think a potential play is some of these software companies, and software stocks have been absolutely crushing it over the years. Of course, you guys are familiar with companies like Microsoft, but there's just many companies. Salesforce has been doing well, and software stocks are outperforming the market over the long run. So I've done some research, and some of the best performing index funds out there have been software businesses. So the reason why software is so profitable is simply all they have to do is basically sign up customers, produce it once, and they could continue to sell the same software over and over again. And the margins on the business are extremely high. So although this company is not profitable yet, I think this is definitely a stock to pay attention to. And I like the fact that it works exclusively with Apple. It's one of those situations where they're basically attaching themselves to a very successful company, and Apple products are so ubiquitous. Who would have thought, to 20 years, Apple would have grown to become a huge company like it is now, but that is exactly the case, guys. So definitely, I want to wrap this video up. I hope I gave you guys some really interesting stock in the IPO, and I'm going to be covering more IPO stocks throughout this year, trying to give you guys some ideas on some companies that could perhaps be a bit undervalued and shares that you can buy and make some quick profits. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, please smash the red subscribe button. It really, really helps. And be sure to leave your comments what you think about JAMF. I've known this company for a really long time. Interesting to see it IPO, and hopefully they can become profitable and continue to add more customers. So that's it. Until next time, guys.